Hey Reddit, throwaway account for obvious reasons. This is a wild ride, so buckle up. I've been debating whether to share this story for a while now, but I need to get it off my chest. Names and some details have been changed to protect my ass. 3 months ago, I, 34M, was the lead network security specialist at a crypto startup called Blockchain Innovations. Not the most original name, I know, but we were doing well. Like, really well. We just closed a Series B funding round of $18 million and had over $30 million in various crypto assets in our company wallets. My wife Sarah, 32F, was our HR director, and my boss, Derek, 41M, was the CTO and co-founder. We were all friends outside of work too. Derek and his wife often came over for dinner. We go on couples, trips, the whole 9 yards. I considered him a mentor and a friend. What a joke that turned out to be. It started with little things. Sarah working late more often. Password changes on her phone. That classic, quickly putting down the phone when I walked into the room, move. She became distant, critical of everything I did. Nothing was ever good enough. You never take me anywhere nice anymore. Why don't you dress better like Derek does? Maybe if you were more ambitious, you'd be a CTO by now too. I chalked it up to stress from work. We were all putting in crazy hours for this funding round. But one night, while doing routine security updates on our company servers, I noticed something weird in the access logs. Someone had been accessing our secure communication server from Derek's office at 11:30 p.m. on a Saturday. Sarah had told me she was working late that night, alone. Instead of confronting them, I decided to dig deeper. I set up a silent backdoor into our company messaging system. Ethically dubious? Sure, but something didn't feel right. 3 days later, I had all the evidence I needed. The messages between them went back 6 months. 6 fucking months. I can't stand being around him anymore. He's so clueless. Doesn't suspect a thing. After this funding round, I'll find a way to push him out. That last one was from Derek, my mentor, my friend, the guy who been screwing my wife while simultaneously planning to edge me out of the company I helped build. I sat in my dark home office for hours that night, reading through their exchanges, looking at pictures they sent each other. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely use the mouse. But as the shock wore off, something else took its place. Cold, calculated fury. They thought I was clueless? They were planning to push me out? Well, they had no idea who they were dealing with. I was the one who had architected our entire security infrastructure. I knew every backdoor, every vulnerability, every single way in and out of our systems. That night, as Sarah slept soundly in our bed, claiming she had a migraine when I tried to touch her, I hatched a plan. A plan that would change all our lives forever. I'd give them exactly what they wanted, me, gone. But I'd be taking a little severance package with me. For the next 2 weeks, I lived a double life. During the day, I was the same old reliable Alex. That's not my real name, showing up to work on time, smiling at meetings, nodding along to Derek's bullshit presentations. I'd watch him and Sarah exchange glances when they thought no one was looking. Sometimes they'd brush hands when passing documents. Once, I saw them whispering in the break room, stopping abruptly when I walked in. Just discussing the new benefits package, Sarah said with that fake smile I now realized I'd been seeing for months. Great, I replied with an equally fake smile, looking forward to hearing about it. At night, though, I was meticulously documenting everything and setting up my exit strategy. I found hotel receipts in her email, credit card charges for jewelry I'd never seen her wear. I even tracked their locations using the company's VPN logs, correlating times they were both working late, at the office or simultaneously out for client meetings. But the most damning evidence came from our home security system. I had installed these fancy cameras myself when we bought the house last year. Guess they forgot about them. While reviewing footage from days I'd been sent on business trips, I discovered Derek had been to our house 6 times in the past 3 months. Each visit lasted about 2 hours. Each time, they went straight to our bedroom. Our fucking bedroom. The bed I bought. The sheets I helped pick out. The wedding photos on the wall, watching silently as they betrayed me. I nearly threw up when I saw the footage. But I didn't confront her. Not yet. I had bigger plans. See, our company handled crypto for some pretty significant clients. Our security setup required 3 specific people to authorize any major withdrawals. Derek, as CTO, Sarah, representing HR, operations, and me, security. It was meant to be foolproof. No single person could access the full keys to the kingdom. But they didn't know I had been quietly creating a backdoor for months, not for anything nefarious, just as an emergency protocol in case our normal systems went down. Only I had access to it. It was my insurance policy for the company. Ironic that it would become my insurance policy against the company. One Tuesday night, Sarah mentioned she was going to work late again. "Don, wait up," she said, not even looking me in the eye as she grabbed her keys. "Probably won't be home until after midnight." "No problem," I said casually. I got some online gaming with the guys anyway. As soon as she left, I got to work. I didn't just have access to our crypto wallets. I had admin privileges on virtually every system. First, I copied all their incriminating messages and emails to a secure cloud account. Then I accessed our security camera archives and backed up the footage of their little rendezvous at our house. Next came the tricky part. I needed to set up a way to move our crypto assets without triggering alarms. Normally, this would require approval from all 3 of us, but my backdoor let me simulate these approvals. It wasn't technically hacking. I had built these systems, after all. I was just using administrative privileges they didn't know I had. Around 9 p.m., I decided to check where they actually were. Using the company's phone tracking system, which we had for emergency situations, I located both their phones at surprise, a boutique hotel downtown. That was all the confirmation I needed. I initiated the first transfer. Just a small test amount to an anonymous wallet I set up. It worked flawlessly. No alerts, no flags. The system thought it had proper authorization from all required parties. Then I took a deep breath and looked around our home office. Photos of our wedding day. Vacation souvenirs. 5 years of marriage reduced to lies and betrayal. Fuck it, I whispered to myself, and began the main transfers. By 11 p.m., I had moved approximately $28.7 million in various cryptocurrencies to untraceable wallets only I could access. I left about $1.3 million in the company accounts, enough that an automatic check wouldn't immediately flag anything, but not enough to keep the company afloat for long. As I was finishing up, my phone buzzed with a text from Sarah, working late. "Don, wait up. Might crash at Lisa's place." Lisa was her friend who I knew was out of town. Another lie. I texted back. "No problem. Sleep well." Then I opened my laptop camera and started recording what would become my farewell video. The farewell video. This was possibly the most satisfying part of my plan. I sat in my home office, staring into my laptop camera. I was surprisingly calm. The rage I felt discovering their affair had crystallized into something colder, more focused. I hit record and began. "Hey Sarah, Derek. If you re-watching this, then you probably noticed some irregularities in the company accounts. Before you panic completely, I want you both to know that this is not a random hack or security breach. This was me." I paused, taking a sip of whiskey. "Sarah, my dear wife, I know about you and Derek. I know about the hotel meetups, the late nights at the office. I even know about the times you brought him to our home, to our bed." I played a brief clip from our home security footage showing them entering our bedroom, then cut it off before anything explicit. Just enough to make my point. Derek, my mentor, my friend. Remember when you told me that security was all about trust? That we needed multiple authorization keys because no single person should be trusted with everything? Funny how that works. It. You didn't trust me with the company assets, but you had no problem fucking my wife behind my back. I explained exactly how long known, how gathered the evidence, how they been careless and arrogant. I detailed their plan to push me out after the funding round. I wanted them to know just how thoroughly they been outplayed. Now, about the money. Yes, they moved it. No, you won, find it. And no, the authorities won, be able to trace it either. I built our security infrastructure, remember? I know exactly how to cover my tracks. I paused again, letting that sink in. But here's the interesting part. I am not a thief. Not really. The money will be returned to our investors and clients, minus my consulting fee. Let's call it $8 million. Fair compensation for my shares in the company that you were planning to dilute. Plus damages for the psychological trauma of finding out my wife and boss were plotting against me while screwing in my bed. I detailed how I set up a smart contract that would automatically return the remaining funds to our investors in exactly 30 days, but only if certain conditions were met. If they went to the police, the money would be permanently locked away. If they tried to trace me, same result. The only way to save the company and their reputations was to follow my instructions exactly. Sarah, they emailed divorce papers to our lawyer. Sign them. Derek, I want your written resignation stating that you leaving the company due to ethical breaches on your part. Submit it to the board. Once these conditions are met, the investors get their money back, minus my severance package. Everyone can move on. I took a final sip of whiskey. Oh, and one more thing. Sarah, remember how you always wanted to go to Bali? Always talking about those Instagram perfect beach photos? Well, I am going to send you some postcards. The beaches really are beautiful this time of year. I ended the recording and set it up to be automatically emailed to both of them the next morning at 9 a.m., right when they be arriving at the office. Then I packed a single carry-on suitcase with essentials, grabbed my passport, and called a taxi. As I was leaving, I took one last look at our wedding photo hanging in the hallway. 5 years of what I thought was a good marriage. All a lie. I took the photo out of the frame, struck a match, and watched it curl and blacken in the kitchen sink. Symbolic? Maybe. Petty? Definitely. Satisfying? Absolutely. By the time my taxi arrived at the airport, I had already transferred my fee through various exchanges and tumblers, making it virtually untraceable. I had a new phone with a prepaid SIM card. I'd withdrawn $10,000 in cash before leaving, enough to get established somewhere new without leaving a trail. As the plane took off, I felt something I hadn't expected, relief. The weight of their betrayal was still there, but it was overshadowed by a sense of freedom. I ordered a scotch from the flight attendant and toasted myself silently as the city lights disappeared below the clouds. Next stop. A country with beautiful beaches, affordable living, and conveniently complex relationships with Western extradition requests. But the story doesn't end there. Their reaction when they discovered what I'd done was, let's just say it exceeded my wildest expectations. The reaction back home was exactly what you expect when nearly $30 million in crypto suddenly disappears and a damning video drops in your inbox. Complete and utter chaos. I wasn't there to witness it firsthand, of course, but I had set up a little insurance policy. Remember those security cameras I mentioned? I had remote access to all of them, including the ones in the office. Plus, a developer friend who stayed loyal to me, call him Ryan, kept me updated via encrypted messages. He wasn't involved in my plan at all, but he definitely enjoyed the show that unfolded. According to Ryan, Sarah and Derek arrived at the office separately that morning, keeping up appearances. They both checked their emails around the same time. Ryan said he heard Sarah's scream from 3 offices away. Derek apparently turned ghost white and immediately slammed his office door shut. Within minutes, they were both in the server room in full panic mode. Derek was frantically trying to trace the transfers while Sarah kept repeating, "This can't be happening," over and over. The security footage of them was priceless. Two people who thought they were so clever suddenly realizing they'd been outmaneuvered completely. The best part? They couldn't go to the police without admitting why I had done this. The video made it clear that if they involved authorities, the smart contract would lock the remaining funds forever, and the full video, including the bedroom footage, would be automatically sent to our board of directors and investors. Ryan told me Sarah was in full meltdown mode by midday. "Your husband is a fucking psychopath," she screamed at Derek in the conference room, apparently forgetting about the security cameras I still had access to. "How could he do this to me? To us? I knew he was pathetic, but this is insane. Derek wasn't much better. How was I supposed to know he'd figure it out? You said he was clueless. You said he never paid attention to anything you did. Well, obviously I was wrong. And now what? The company is ruined. Our reputations are ruined. What are we going to do?" Their argument escalated until Sarah actually threw a coffee mug at Derek's head. It missed, but the symbolism wasn't lost on me. Their perfect little affair was crumbling under pressure, just as I anticipated. By the afternoon, they had called an emergency board meeting. I wish I could have seen their faces as they tried to explain the situation without revealing the full truth. According to Ryan, they claimed it was an external security breach, and they were working to recover the funds. They conveniently left out the parts about their affair and the blackmail video. But here's where it gets really interesting. Sarah, my darling soon-to-be ex-wife, started to spin a narrative that painted me as the villain even before they knew I was responsible. Ryan overheard her telling people that I had been acting strange lately, and had been neglecting my security duties. She was already setting up a scapegoat. When the board asked to speak with me and found out I was unreachable, suspicions naturally turned in my direction. That's when Derek and Sarah had to come clean about the video, though Ryan says they heavily edited the story to make themselves sound like victims. According to their version, I had become obsessed and controlling, misinterpreting their professional relationship as something inappropriate. Sarah told everyone I had always been unstable and jealous, and this was my revenge fantasy for imagined wrongs. Meanwhile, I was checking into a beautiful villa in Bali under a name that wasn't mine, using cash that couldn't be traced. I spent my first day swimming in my private pool, drinking fresh coconut water, and watching the sunset over the Indian Ocean. I'd like to say I felt bad about the chaos I left behind, but honestly, I slept better that night than I had in months. The next day, Ryan informed me that our major investors were threatening legal action. The board was in panic mode. Our stock price, we had gone public in a small cap exchange last year, was tanking. Clients were pulling out. The company that we built from nothing was imploding. And Sarah, she was already playing the victim card to anyone who would listen. She moved out of our house that same day, telling friends that she feared for her safety because of my mental instability. Classic Sarah, always making everything about her. But the best part was yet to come. Remember those divorce papers I had sent to our lawyer? Sarah had initially refused to sign them, probably thinking she could get a better settlement if I was branded a thief. Then she received the first postcard. I want to tell you exactly what I wrote, but it included specific details about their affair that only I could know, along with a reminder that the 30-day countdown on the smart contract was ticking. I also mentioned that I had copies of all their messages and videos safely stored in multiple locations. Ryan said she signed the papers the same day. As for Derek, let's just say his resignation letter to the board was a masterpiece of corporate doublespeak. He deeply regretted the security oversight and was taking full responsibility by stepping down. No mention of sleeping with the security chief's wife, of course. All according to plan. But the story doesn't end there. The fallout from their public implosion was even more satisfying than I had anticipated first, thanks to everyone who followed this saga. Your comments and support have been therapeutic during what's been the craziest few months of my life. Now, let's wrap this up with the aftermath and where things stand today. As promised, exactly 30 days after my departure, the smart contract executed. $20.7 million was returned to our investors' wallets, along with a detailed explanation of what had happened and why. I also included all the evidence of Derek and Sarah's affair, their plan to push me out, and how they had breached their fiduciary duties to the company. The investors were furious, but not at me. Well, not primarily at me. Yes, I had taken $8 million, but I had also saved them from losing everything to two people who had placed their personal drama above company interests. Several investors actually reached out through back channels to say they understood why I did what I did, though they couldn't publicly condone it. The company, Blockchain Innovations, didn't survive. After Derek's resignation and the public scandal, the board tried to salvage what they could, but the damage to their reputation was too severe. They were acquired for pennies on the dollar by a competitor, mostly for their client list and some proprietary technology I had helped develop. As for Sarah and Derek, this is where it gets really interesting. Sarah, true to form, tried to paint herself as the victim in our divorce proceedings. Her attorney argued that I had abandoned the marriage and stolen company assets, making me the defaulting party. What she didn't expect was that I had instructed my lawyer to submit all evidence of her affair as part of the proceedings. Adultery might not be a crime, but it definitely affects divorce settlements in many jurisdictions. Combined with the evidence that she had been planning to force me out of the company I helped build, the judge was unsympathetic to her claims. The divorce was finalized 3 weeks ago. She got the house, which was underwater on the mortgage anyway, and her personal belongings. No alimony, no claim to any of my assets. Her reputation in the industry was ruined. Last I heard from Ryan, she's moved back to her hometown and is working at her father's insurance company. How the mighty have fallen. Derek fared even worse. His wife left him when the affair came to light. The board is suing him for breach of fiduciary duty. No tech company will touch him now. He's radioactive in an industry that values trust and security above all. According to LinkedIn, he's now a consultant, which we all know is code for unemployed. As for me, I am still in paradise, living under a new identity. The $8 million, after being properly laundered through various means I won, detail here, has been invested in a diversified portfolio that generates enough passive income for me to live very comfortably without ever touching the principal. I bought a small beachfront property and a local business as a cover. I spend my days swimming, learning the local language, and doing freelance security consulting under a new name. I've even started dating again. Nothing serious, just enjoying the company of people who know nothing about my past. Do I regret what I did? Parts of it, yes. The company employed good people who lost their jobs when it collapsed. I am not proud of that collateral damage. I've anonymously helped a few of them find new positions through my remaining industry contacts. But do I regret taking Sarah and Derek down? Not for a second. They betrayed not just me, but everyone who trusted them with their investments and careers. They were willing to throw me under the bus to cover their affair and satisfy their greed. In the end, they got exactly what they deserved. Last week, I received the final document from my lawyer, confirmation that all legal proceedings related to the divorce are complete. I celebrated by taking my boat out to a secluded bay, opening a bottle of champagne, and watching the sunset. As I toasted the end of this chapter, I felt something I hadn't expected. Closure. The anger that had fueled me for months has faded. I don't think about them much anymore. I am building a new life, one that's actually better than what I had before. There's something liberating about losing everything and starting over on your own terms. So that's my story, Reddit. A cautionary tale about trust, betrayal, and consequences. If there's a lesson here, maybe it's this. Never underestimate the quiet guy who built your security system. We see everything. Oh, and I sent Sarah one final postcard last week. All it said was, "The divorce is final. I forgive you. Be better." Not because she deserves forgiveness, but because I deserve peace.